All right, y'all. I'm about to interview family. Family came in town. He's from Colorado, but he moved to Atlanta to do some real estate. So he's gonna be the first real estate agent that I'm gonna interview. I'm gonna go through the process of asking him what type of real estate he does, and we're gonna go on from there. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna plug in his network in there, his links and all that. So y'all go check him out as well. Learn something. He might hook you up with something. So yeah. All right. So we got Francois right here. He does real estate. So I just want to ask like real quick. So like, what type of real estate do you do?
So I do both residential and commercial. That entails residential, like your single family home, duplex, all the way up to anything with 4 units. And then commercial, of course, is anything that can be used for business or that is zoned
Yeah.
by a development for commercial. I also specialize in new construction, which is new development, new homes being built, such as the one that your dad recently purchased. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, me personally, I want to get into like buying I wanna have rental properties. So I wanna have like
Okay.
duplexes and then rent
Yep.
them out. You know. So I heard a leasing option was good too.
So lease with an option is sort of like they call it owner financing.
Yeah.
That's a good question though, or that's a good topic because a lot of people with bad credit that have been renting for years from the same landlord give up on home ownership. Sometimes they feel a little hopeless, and I would say that that's probably one of the best ways to get into home ownership for someone that has challenging credit but may have consistent income, has consistency with paying their rent,
Mhm.
especially over the number of years, and has a rapport with their landlord or the homeowner where they can present them an offer. They can do it through a real estate agent such as myself and say, hey, I want to actually purchase this home. Can a portion of my rent go towards this? And then we would come in and identify the terms. What's the interest
Okay.
rate? So essentially, the owner of the property becomes the bank and
Yeah.
you're paying them on the mortgage. And you write out a contract very similar to you would to a bank or a mortgage company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to just see like
Yeah, so
what
there's
I could learn a
avenues,
little
there's ways for somebody young like you, one of my mentors, but he's also a client. He has about 138 properties, had about 150 properties, started buying properties since about 2012, and bought maybe about one property every month for about 10 years
bit.
and
Really.
accumulated a huge number of properties over that course of time. But his advice was buy and hold, similar to
Mhm.
what you're talking about, to where you want to buy and rent them out. He's saying that that's where cash flow is. You
Yeah.
get cash flow versus flip it. He also broke down the tax benefits.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of tax
yeah,
benefits
yeah.
and tax
So
strategies.
yeah, so he told me, okay, you flip the house and over the course of 6 months, you buy it for a low, put $20,000 into it, and you sell it to somebody else for a little more. He said
Mhm.
they're going to tax you about 30% on that particular income, capital gains. He
Okay.
said, but if I buy it and hold it for over a year, and
Mhm.
then I decide to sell it, or I hold it over a number of couple years, then I decide to sell it. He said I'm only taxed at about 30. I'm only taxed at about 15 to 20% on that one.
Okay.
So there's a lot of benefits to buying and hold.
Yeah. It's like an
When it
investment.
comes
It's
around that.
investing.
Yeah, yeah,
Even in stocks.
that's
Invest
it.
in, you
That's
hold
it.
it, stay consistent. Even if it's gonna drop. That's when you buy more.
That's when you
So
buy
that's
when it's
it.
at its lowest.
Exactly.
You speaking my language, really my wife's language.
She's in the
She's the
stocks.
stock. She's the stock. I'm the real estate. She's the stocks.
Okay.
Yeah,
I might want to get a
she's
little.
you might want to get an interview with her as well. You might as well throw her in there too.
But okay, so for the first like actual question,
Huh?
where's like some struggles and like kind of like the background of yours?
Well, I grew up, of course, at Montbello, on the other side of Montbello. I say closer to 56 by the Arsenal, which once you pass like Crown Market, you sort of get into a different culture of Montbello, where there's a little more poverty,
Yeah.
more Section 8 living, more free lunch kids, and that's where I think more of the gang banging and gang culture existed throughout. Now it went throughout the entire neighborhood, all the way to Park Hill and East Side. But I
Mhm.
grew up there and didn't have a lot of money. Mom didn't have a lot of money, so I started hustling. When I say hustling, I started selling weed. Didn't want to, but that was one of the only ways that I thought at the time I could contribute to helping pay my mom's bills and
Yeah.
financial support. And I was actually good at it, right?
Mhm.
Now, I got to high school, a lot more competition. They blunts was a little fatter than mine. I started falling off, and my business was on its way down. I started taking business classes. I started taking finance classes, accounting, franchising, business law, and I had an internship through Wendy's. It was the newest Wendy's right there on Chambers. It's still there, but when they first built it, it was the new Wendy's. I was working there, but I was also getting credit for school to work there. And I learned a lot from my teacher. Shout out to Miss Johnson Henley, who actually saved my weed selling business. Now, much
Really?
to my shame, this is not something I'm proud of, but I used the information and the knowledge I was getting from this teacher and I started applying it to my business. So
That's
instead of
good.
selling to students, I changed my customer base and I started selling to parents and adults, more adults. And I start also supplying the people that were selling to the students.
Yeah.
So I started a little, supplying and
That's
then
smart.
also a little wholesaling to them.
Yeah.
And then I knew that adults got checks every 2 weeks. I could drop something off and get it on consignment and come back and pick up my money on payday.
Mhm.
So I did that for a lot of, and sadly, a lot of the students that I went to school with, I was actually selling weed to their parents and so on and so forth. Now, again, that was much to my shame and much to the shame of my community or the hurt of my community and nothing I'm proud of. However, what I didn't realize is I was developing a skill set.
Exactly. I was gonna say that.
By the time I got to out of high school, I went to college for 1 year. I did really well for about half a semester. I actually did really good for one full semester, and I had to drop out because I couldn't pay for it. So I
Yeah.
went back to what I knew best at that time, which was selling weed. I started real estate classes at the time, and then I got distracted because the weed money was so good that I had money in my safe. I had money in banks and different banks. And, this is around the same time I was hanging out with your uncle, your dad,
Mhm.
and we were, we had status. So I dropped out of real estate school, even though that was a passion of mine. It was something I wanted to do. And unfortunately, I actually took another wrong turn and ended up in prison. Hence, where you got felons to favor my other
Yeah.
ministry. But while in prison, I started studying real estate. And when I
That's
got
good.
out, I still didn't go into real estate. I waited about
Uh,
20, about I'd say about 15 more years later, and then decided to go for my real estate license. I believed a lot of people, and it was a lie that said I couldn't get a real estate license because I had a felony. I ended up
yeah.
going and getting one. In spite of my felony, my background check actually came back clear,
Really?
much to the grace of God. I give
Yeah.
God glory for that. But
Facts.
yeah, so that was some of the things I had to overcome, and then got my real estate license, and it sort of took off from there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's even like in the struggles, like you could find like something
Oh
positive,
yeah,
something
yeah.
beneficial that can help you out. You know what
So
I'm saying?
what I didn't mention was I used that same exact skill set that I developed from high school and hustling, and now I still use it in real estate. I've actually just built upon it and grew the gift of salesmanship, negotiation skills, which is
Mhm.
actually skill sets,
Yeah.
transferable skill sets that you can use in other industries and other fields. Made six figures through corporate America using these same skill sets,
Yeah.
presentation or presenting it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I feel like even if you have like these types of skills like instilled in you, like you'll always have
Absolutely.
some way of making money. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So
Absolutely.
it comes out. It's very helpful. You know, it's
Yeah.
beneficial if you have like no job or something. All right. So what can I do? I know how to
Skill
talk.
set.
I know how to persuade. I know how to negotiate or something. Boom.
Yep.
That's a little side hustle you can
Boom.
do.
Boom.
You know, but
It's good.
actually build it. So building up on that or on to what you were saying. So
Yeah.
what like types of skills and like should I build up on?
I would say sort of look back over your past, the things that people always said you were good at. things that people always like. It sort of came easier for you than other people, right? But also something that you're passionate about too. I say to people, young people, especially college students or pre-college, coming graduate from high school or right before you graduate from high school, explore trades, electricians, plumbing, even barbers a trade, and HVAC is a trade. I think even certain computer technology, AI right now is becoming more of a trade.
Yeah.
I would say get a trade. Even if you can go to college, get a trade, but try to get it in somewhere where you're passionate about, or at least somewhere where you have great interest in.
Okay.
And that'll sustain you in between the periods of lack, where you're in college and money ain't, and you don't have to keep calling back to pops or moms and hey. So if you do hair, you should be doing hair. If you do lashes, you should be doing lashes at the school, or for the students. If you can get some candy or get some stuff, they ain't got no snack machine. Identify a problem
Yeah.
and provide a solution to that problem. You can never
Hmm.
go wrong.
Okay. I think I should probably like pivot then, cause I have like other little side hustles. Like I know
Uh-huh.
you seen like the room. Like, did you see those like those boxes stacked up and those
Nah,
little
tell me about it. Tell me a little more
Yeah,
about it.
it's like a little like side hustle. I'm trying to like flip clothes basically. Flipping
Okay.
clothes.
So that's a skill set. We talk about real estate.
Mhm.
If you're flipping houses, it's no different. You buy low, sell
So
for a profit. Now
Mhm.
here's where most people, even in real estate, get greedy, and this is something you can apply to your business as well, your side hustle, is if I'm only paying $5 per shirt, $10 per shirt, do I have to mark it up to $30 per shirt? Do I have to mark it up that much? Or can I sell more value at $15 to $20 per shirt
Mhm.
and get a lot more sold, sell out and go back and supply, maybe drive my costs down by buying more shirts at one time versus charging 30 and then still having a lot of inventory left over because they're not selling at the rate that I thought they were.
Yeah.
Or apparel, it doesn't have to be shirts, but something you just want to think about in your business strategy
Okay.
for the side hustle. And some side hustles become permanent hustles
Yeah.
depending on how much money they make. So
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
That's
You
cool.
might have to sell me something. I might have to
I
might have to get some gear.
feel like the profit that I'm making, like the net profit, is not.
Hmm.
I feel like I get taxed too much, so I'm trying to figure out. Okay,
Okay.
what can I do to get more net income, like
Hmm.
off of it? So.
So what I've learned from wealthy people, a lot of millionaires that I work with, is it's not how much you spend, but how much you keep or how much you save
Yeah.
that contributes to your net. So I would analyze and do a business analysis, and identify, can I pay a little less for the shirts and still have the same or whatever the
Yeah.
apparel is and get the same quality? Can I again buy more bulk and save cost, right?
Mhm.
How do I get these to my target audience
Yeah.
for a lower cost, right? What is my marketing budget and how am I utilizing that?
Mhm.
And that's where you'll start to identify ways and you coming back with more money at the end of
Mhm.
the day.
Yeah. I don't wanna like say too much on camera, but I have like a plan. Like I have some
All right, don't give it
good.
away. We ain't giving all that away today.
Yeah.
All right, y'all just gonna see it unfold. When it happens, it happens. Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
good. As you should. We'll talk about that off camera.
Okay, bet.
All right.
And so how can somebody at my age like start building capital right now?
Again, I would identify either a skill set, get a trade. I had my son, 12 years old. I said, look around at a problem that people have. And one of the problems in our neighborhood is people getting their trash out to the curb. I said, create a flyer, tell people, I'll solve this problem for you. I'll get your trash to the curb every day, or every trash day. I'll
Mm-hmm.
come get it the night before, get it to the curb, and I'll put it back in your yard. $5 a week. If you
Yeah,
can get
you
five
could.
houses, you got $25 a week. If you can
Hmm.
get 10 houses, you got $50 a week. As a 12-year-old, that's something that, you know,
Yeah.
I've seen people, especially that came out of prison, shout out to Benny Richardson, and he started a business where he goes and collects the trash for apartment buildings. So people in apartments, they just leave their trash outside the door. He
Mm-hmm.
grabs the trash, takes it to the trash bin. Like he
Yeah.
has a big old dumpster, dumps everybody's trash in there, gets it to the, and he's been living off of that. He's never had to go work for anybody else with the felony because his
That's
business.
good.
So when I say that, I say again, identify any problem. Just start looking at some issues that people have or
Yeah.
some things that can make their lives better and
Easier,
easier,
more convenient for them.
and start targeting focusing on that
Yeah.
for someone your age. There's always a problem to solve.
Facts. You just gotta probably just brainstorm it and see what you
Absolutely.
can do.
Well, let's talk about. So you went to college, right?
Yeah.
Where were you at?
I'm going to Metro.
Metro. So at Metro, most are off campus, right? And then what are some of the issues that people have with at Metro as a student or as a freshman? What issues did you have as a freshman?
Studying. I didn't know how
Study.
to study in
Okay.
my grades.
So here's a quick three. This for social media. 3 tips on how to stay focused on how to study. You got good grades still. Your dad talks you up a lot.
Yeah.
So you've been surviving. 3 survival tactics to surviving as a freshman. And then start giving information and tips. And then from there, you may have some products that you can add on to that. You may have some apparel that you can add on to that. You may have something else. But
Okay.
always be willing to help people. If you can help people without getting paid, eventually you'll
It'll
start
just
getting
come
paid
in.
for it. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. The blessing comes.
Okay. So what risk or sacrifice have you made that scared you but it paid off?
Oh, the first one that comes to mind is 2024, 2023, 2024. I'm making $137,000 a year. Year before that, I think I made about $125,000 a year. Year
Mm.
before that, I think it dropped to about 107, but before that, it was still about 130 something thousand dollars a year. And the Lord told me to leave that job. What do you mean leave
Mm.
that job? I got kids. I just got a fiance. Just got paid. Leave the job. I didn't leave the job. I ended up getting fired from the job. Talk about scared,
Gotta,
right?
yeah.
I had to jump 2 feet in and push hard just strictly real estate for the next couple of years. And when I tell you it was tough and bills wasn't getting paid and debt was piling up and my wife looking at me crazy like what we doing? My kids looking at me like we ain't getting on vacations, we looking bad. And I really that was probably one of the scariest moments in my life until we
Mm.
start praying as a family and I start doing things differently and focusing more on my business to where I got close to what I was making in corporate America on my own through self-employment and through my business, which is property language.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I
Yeah,
like to hear that.
yeah.
Especially like just putting your trust in God,
Oh man,
and faith, because
when I tell you that's all I had.
He knows, He knows like the best solution. Like even if you whatever you want or
Yeah,
whatever you desire, or He
yeah.
knows the best solution. You might not be ready for it right now.
Man,
You know what I'm saying? Like He knows, like if you put your faith and trust, like He has you. He has
yeah,
you in your best favor.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's good to hear
so,
coming from young people like you because your generation, for some reason, a lot of young people in your generation don't consider God. And
yeah,
it's not a conversation that you could have or that it's been had. And unfortunately, a lot of don't have the same mindset as you. So
mm,
when I can get next to or impart and also pull from, because you guys are still teaching me a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Um,
That's wait,
just watch
my
y'all.
bad.
Go ahead.
I say this all the time too. Like when I talk to my dad, like you can learn something from everybody. Like you can learn from the worst person in this world. You can learn something from him. He might know
Always
something
something to
that's
learn.
valuable. You know what I'm saying?
Always
So
something to learn. That's right.
that's
True indeed.
from
True
everybody.
indeed.
So what type of property cash flows best in this type? And you say you do single family
So
homes
you
and
got single
duplexes?
family homes, you got duplexes, you got triplexes, you got quadplexes,
Yeah.
you have apartments, you have trailer homes, you have so on and so forth. It's really going to depend on the market, right? So I'm in
Yeah.
Georgia, and you have different cities, you have different counties, you have in Georgia, in your Stone Mountain, Georgia. Most of Stone Mountain, Georgia is rental properties, right? So I'm going to
Okay.
buy, I'm going to hold, and I'm going to rent those properties out versus a place like Lilburn near a high school that is in high demand. The
Mm.
schooling system is in very high demand. That's something where I'm more than likely going to buy, fix it up, buy low, distressed property, fix it up, and then I want to flip that and sell it for a higher margin.
Okay.
Kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, and make sure you do all of the aesthetically pleasing things that
Yeah.
people like, kitchen islands and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really depends on the market, and that's where you have to do your research. You have to identify what types of homes are selling, what types of homes are renting. Is there multifamily? Is there opportunity for multifamily homes such as duplexes and
Okay.
triplex and quadplexes?
Okay.
Yeah. So it always depends.
Yeah. What is something you would have teached yourself about real estate when you first started?
So I had an opportunity when I was about 20 years old, 19, 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible says, do not despise the days of small beginnings. My credit was good. My money was okay. My
Mm-hmm.
job was paying me a little something on paper. And I had got approved for about a $60,000, $70,000 loan. And I went and looked at some properties, and I'm like, this is too small. That's too small. And there was a condo in Aurora, right next to Aurora Mall. And I'm like, oh, that's like a studio apartment. I don't really, that's too small. I don't really need that. And that was just a small beginning. I was despising that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I would have
So,
brought that property at 60, 70,000, I would probably be selling that property for about five to $600,000
really,
now.
I
Yeah.
would have had a
And I
big,
probably would have bought more in that same community at some point.
yeah,
If I understood the value of home ownership and building equity to where when I say it's valued at 400,000 but I only owe 100,000, I got $300,000 equity, I can pull some of that money out
yeah,
and I can become my own bank and buy more properties or use it as investment, use it to save my debt. If I understood that as a young person, then those are the conversations I would be having,
so
even to
like
you.
just appreciating assets or something.
That's it. You got to
Yeah,
have appreciating assets. I was too busy buying Burberry. I had Gucci
liabilities.
boots. I had all these clothes. I had these cars. And all this stuff was depreciating
Yeah,
fast. Jordans. As soon as I put them on my feet, depreciating fast.
yeah,
Now you might get some Jordans, some classics that may gain some equity or value at some point, but for the most part, they were depreciating, and they weren't assets at all. They were liabilities.
yeah.
So those are the conversations I definitely would have had with myself.
Okay, that's good. I like that. It's all learning lessons, you know.
Listen, man,
Live and you learn.
live
You
and you
know,
learn.
that's how you grow.
That's it.
So this one's more like just in general. So like, what's the best investment that you've made? It could be mentally, physically, spiritually, or financially.
I would have 1,000% without question. One, my relationship with God.
Yeah,
Two, building my family and spending time with my family. When I was in corporate America, it kept me on the road 4 to 5 days out of the week. And it was a struggle. I started to watch my family deteriorate. I still see videos of my kids telling me, hey, I love you. I'm going to school. I hope you come home soon. I have videos, and I remember my kids praying to God. I pray that God gives you another job so that you can be home and you can be present and you can spend time with us. And I'm like, dang,
that
it
hurt.
hurt my heart. But now I'd rather take a lower pay and pour into my family and spend time with my family, read the word with my family, play games with my family. We go walking after dinner every night.
Really?
We always eat
That's
dinner
good.
together. That wasn't something that was encouraged, all the
Yeah,
time in a lot of those households. We eat dinner together. We go walking or do a quick jog together after,
that's
and then we
cool.
pray while we walk. You know,
Yeah,
we play games as a family together. We try to do everything together and have a set routine. So I would say pouring into my family. Of course, my investment, my relationship with God, which is always beneficial and always prospers you in some way
yeah,
and in every way. And then my family, being able to invest in my family time. I make
I
them
like that.
breakfast every morning. Make
Yeah,
sure my wife gets out the door to the gym and then to work every morning. My kids I make them breakfast. Those are things that I invest in. So
I like that.
yeah,
I like that. especially like you just aligning with God and then aligning like with family. Like I
Absolutely.
feel like just me personally in my own experience, I feel like people like neglect family or they don't care about them or they don't spend enough time with them or
Yeah.
talk behind their backs and all sorts of other stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
listening to your story, it's like dang, like as a young person, like I want that, like you know,
It'll come. It'll come. One,
that would be
you
cool.
have a solid foundation and a father that he showed you what hustle looked like, right? Where he's packing you up on a bus first thing in the morning and
Yeah,
carrying you in the snow just to get you to daycare, just so you can get back on that bus, go to work, come back and pick you up, you know,
yeah,
until, and that was for years.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's hustle, that's drive. Reminds me of the movie Pursuit of Happiness, right?
hmm,
With Will Smith. You some things, while you may have been lacking some other areas, right? Some things that didn't, God made sure you had exactly what you needed in
yeah.
order for him to get you where he wants you to be. You see what I'm saying?
Facts, yeah, facts a lot.
So I'm proud of you.
Thank you. This is gonna be my last question.
Okay.
So, what's your next biggest goal you want to accomplish, and how are you gonna accomplish it?
So next biggest goal for me is, I always say aim for the stars and land in the clouds. Aim high, and you never know where you're going to land. You may even hit that target. For me, I want to develop housing and I want to develop a community. And this may seem very outlandish. I want to build a neighborhood. Now, I'm from Montbello. I want to build a Montbello in Atlanta, Georgia, somewhere. I want to build an entire city if I can. That's just the vision that I have.
Yeah.
And I have a couple branches that come off of property language, my business. But the biggest branch and the last goal for us is develop and build home subdivisions.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. Like, yeah.
yeah. We got to go big and go home.
Mhm. Because I mean, you might be wanting. Let's just for like an example, you
Yeah,
know, you might want. Let's just say you set a goal. You want to hit. You want to make 500,000 that year, but you aim higher. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna try to get that 1 million. You might make it to 700,000. You might pass it up
and
there.
you never know.
You know, yeah.
That's
Never
right.
know.
That's right.
I'm about to start reading this other book, but it's talking about like 10x, like the 10x rule is by Grant Cardone.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's a
yeah.
real estate.
I'm
So
familiar with Grant Cardone. Before he was in real estate, for the record, he was in the automotive business selling
yeah,
sales courses. But go ahead, Grant Cardone,
yeah, he just talks about like
10x,
10x everything.
trying to multiply everything by 10
Yeah,
and double it by 10. I like Grant Cardone. Sometimes I just don't like his delivery, I
yeah,
guess.
I
But
get you.
he's very effective in what he does. But I agree. You want to make sure that anything you're doing is an investment and not, even when you're going to visit family out of state, that's
Mm-hmm.
an investment and you have to write
Facts.
that off, right? For
Mm-hmm.
your business. Make sure you're talking finance or talking real estate or talking. The other thing I would say you probably want to invest in is your credit at your age. You want to make sure that your credit is solid so that when you have at least 2 to 3 job history,
Mm-hmm.
years of job history, it'll be easier for you to be approved for a home loan.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for: the credit and job history and income.
Okay.
So those things, those components for someone, I would say by the time you hit, how old are you now? 20, 21,
19. But yeah, I'm
19,
about to be 20.
about to be 20.
Yeah.
I say by the time you hit 22, 23, make it a goal and an aspiration to buy your first home or first property.
Okay.
You see how long it took me and somebody like your dad a while to buy our first home,
Yeah.
right? When essentially other communities, white, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, East Indian, West Indian, they're all bred and conditioned to think like this, like wealthy people,
Yeah.
and purchase and home ownership in their 20s. No doubt, no
Mm-hmm.
question. It's like it's automatic. They're expected to be in that. So, but those are all good questions. That's all good questions and good feedback.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate
Absolutely.
this interview. You know, go check them out. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. That's it. So you
It's
got property language on both Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We also have Felons to Favor, which is also my nonprofit organization where we take whatever we make in property language, we take a portion of that and we donate to schools, and we build back into the community, invest back into the community with any dollar that we make, because that's what we're supposed to do.
Help and build, help
That's it.
grow and help others.
That's it.
I
That's
like
it.
that.
That's what we're doing. I
Uh,
appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you for
Yes, sir.
doing this with me.
Absolutely.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
There it is.